They are truly, truly old school, and it's a blast to work with this band. Always loved using the Midas desks since the first day I touched them, just because they sound the way I want them to, and I have to do the least amount of work, and that lets me focus more on the creative side of listening to the music, reacting to what the band is doing on stage. With the Midas desks, it just sounds good. My name's Josh Sobeck, and today we are in Manchester, England, and we are sitting at front of house for the Corey Taylor Show. So when I got started in audio, I think it was 5th or 6th grade, everyone was required to do singing, choir class, and me being the sort of 5th or 6th grade boy I was, didn't want to sing. And they said, well, there's this mixer here that you can do the sound. If you don't want to sing, you have to do something for the class. And I did that, and it really snowballed from there. My 7th grade math teacher pulled me out of class the first week in a new school and said, hey, we heard you know how to do sound. This is an adult talking to a child. And they showed me this. It was probably a mid-70s Yamaha mixer that had like 2 inches of dust on it. And they said, can you please help us get this working? And it just really continued to snowball from there. All through high school, I was in technical theater. After high school, I ended up going out to Arizona to do the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, and I got a certificate degree in audio engineering. So I've got that formal training. But otherwise from there, it's just been growing up, always wanting to be a part of this thing that makes sounds loud. When I started working with Corey Taylor, that would have been not that long ago, actually. I've been with Corey for, officially including all the behind the scenes time, about 6 months now. Earlier this year, sort of April 2023, my phone rang, and I guess you could say it in a way, like when Corey Taylor calls, you can't really say no to Corey Taylor. They said, hey, we want to put you on a call and see, if it works, if you guys click. And so I got on a Zoom video call, and there was Corey. He had gone through a sort of a stack of resumes and said, I see some of the, the artists you've worked with in the past, and I think this could be a good fit. And Corey and I talked for a little while, got to know each other, and decided to go forward with it, and have not looked back since. And it's been, as the rest of Corey's career, sort of, life at 120 miles an hour, and it's been a blast. There's a good bit of stage volume going on, and so of course my biggest challenge out front is how do I manage that? What's the room like? There's been a number of shows, not as bad here in the United Kingdom, but in America on the first leg, there was a lot of shows where the PA system would be off and the band would be playing on stage, and we were nearing 100 dB A-weighted at front of house with the PA off. So it's a seriously loud rock and roll show, and figuring out how to manage that, how to get the clarity, the impact, the feeling of it without hurting people tends to be the challenge in this show. Corey just wants it to sound good. I'm fortunate to be working with an artist like him that gives the audio team the trust to just say, hey, it needs to sound amazing. Go make it sound amazing with the best tools that you think accomplish that job. So on this tour, we are using 2 of the HD96 consoles, one at front of house, one at monitors. We have 2 of the DL231 stage boxes. We are using pretty much all 48 inputs for this show. Additionally, at front of house, I am running a DL155 stage box, which is doing some local I/O for me out here at front of house. My front of house setup does have some analog outboard gear. I like the different flavors that provides. And some of those, like I've got analog distressors, which of course are available as a plugin in the console. I think the plugin sounds wonderful. There's just something tactile about having the physical outboard piece to touch. So for the onboard effects rack with the HD, everything sounds awesome. And I feel like each tour that I've had the HD on now, I've sort of tried to add more stuff. and explore more parts of the desk and just see what it has to offer. Of course, all of the reverbs, the Midas reverbs, the TC Electronics reverbs, they all sound excellent. And I'm using all of my time-based effects, all my reverbs, all my delays, everything's inside the console. I don't have any external hardware reverb units or anything like that. I'm also using a few more plugins inside the desk. The Midas Pi, the primary input enhancer, I am using that everywhere. I'm using it on all my vocals. I'm using it on all my close drum mics. It is the most natural sounding plugin that just cleans it up. I used to have a hardware box that sort of does the same thing as that plugin. I don't feel the need to carry that hardware anymore. The plugin does it so well. I really think Midas has nailed that Pi plugin. It sounds amazing on everything. Every software update that Midas puts out, they keep adding more and more plugins. They keep adding things that users are asking for, and every release it's like, oh, there's something new and fun to try, or I've been asking for this for a while now, it's finally in here, and that's taken me one step closer to not having to haul a whole rack of gear around the world and just say, oh yeah, just get me a HD96 and I'm good to go. I think there's a social media hashtag about it right now. It's nothing sounds like a Midas. And it's true. I find that when I'm not on an HD96 or when I'm not on a Midas in general, that I just spend the whole day trying to get it to sound how I want, which inherently is like a Midas. I just have to spend time reverse engineering whatever system I'm on to get it to sound like a Midas, because, for whatever reason, just the sound in my head that I'm trying to get to come out of the speakers just so happens to be how a Midas sounds, and that's kind of why I think I'm just sort of naturally attracted to the platform. Always loved using the Midas desks since the first day I touched them, just because they sound the way I want them to, and I have to do the least amount of work, and that lets me focus more on the creative side of listening to the music, reacting to what the band is doing on stage, and I don't have to think about the technical details as much of, oh, this compressor's acting too hard, or this EQ's really altering the phase coherency of the source. With the Midas desks, it just sounds good. So with this tour and with Corey, so we started a new album cycle a couple months ago in America. That was the first leg. Now we're in Europe, and this is the second leg of the world tour for this new record of his. And we did make the conscious decision earlier this year to say, hey, we have a whole album cycle to do. Let's try switching desks. Corey's previous audio engineer was also a Midas fan. Corey was on Pro Series before this and always had great experiences with Midas, and so it made a lot of natural sense to move to the HD96 platform. We had a bunch of rehearsal time with the band, and we were able to get everything really dialed in. I've literally got the greatest job in the world. I get to push a fader and feel thousands of watts of low frequency kick drum come back at my chest when I do that. And there's really no other thing on earth that can replicate that emotional feeling for me. And I love the thrill of being in the middle of the crowd every night, just sort of selfishly getting to enjoy some of my favorite music that I am manipulating. When you're going to a concert, you're going to see music that you care deeply about, and you're going to see an artist that you really resonate with, and you're going to have a good time. And I have both the responsibility, but also the enjoyment of conducting how much fun people have by manipulating the sound coming out of the speakers. That's just so cool to me that I am directly responsible for what is a lot of people's best nights of their lives.